Amazing job, Joshua, covering that. As for your weather this weekend, we've had rain go on today. It's going to continue tomorrow for most of Acadiana, about 50% chance, meaning about 50% of the area should receive rain. And then a risk for flash flooding will go on with that. And unfortunately, Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at some high heat temperatures. So we need to enjoy that rain as we have it. Even though it gets a little bit of a nuisance, it's really keeping us cool, which is going to be missed as we go into Monday and Tuesday. Looking at the radar right now, things are starting to calm down. Just a few little lingering showers, nothing to worry about, nothing severe for us here in Acadiana. Thankfully, it looks like that has wrapped up, and we'll be taking a look as to what it looks like for the rest of the week. But we want to keep in mind that today through tomorrow as well, we are hatched in for a slight risk of excessive rainfall, meaning there could be flash flooding happening. So make sure you have the KATC weather app so you can keep up with us and get an alert should that happen. Coming up in just a little bit, I'll take a look at your full 10-day forecast. All right, guys, so we have got such an interesting and almost stagnant upper air pattern now that that tropical air mass is somewhat getting out of the way, which is lovely to see. It's those lingering rain chances, but we're going to have a high pressure that builds over Louisiana in the coming days after this weekend, which is going to really compress the air. It's going to get very hot, but before we get there, we're going to have rain through this weekend. You can see on the radar, we have all of these storms that have really dissipated. Once the sun goes down, they don't have any more support other than that heat, so they go down with it. They had a couple hanging around in Cameron Parish, but those are gone too. So thankfully radar has cleared up. Now, what does the graph model think is going to happen through the next couple of days? There is an excessive rainfall outlook, and I think it's because of this system right here where we've got a few storms and it doesn't look like much, but the graph has it trailing over the same locations. And because we can never quite place exactly where those fall, we have to watch the whole area. And you see that here where these little lines of storm bands are forming and continuing on over the same location. So where those do set up, we'll see heavier rainfall totals than everywhere else. But then by Sunday, this shows us more of just our classic sea breeze pattern, our normal afternoon pop-up thunderstorms, because Sunday that high is going to start building in. Air is going to be more compressed. It's going to be harder to lift it and harder to get storms. But with that comes, unfortunately, the heat, and it will come roaring back Monday and Tuesday. As far as rainfall totals, it just depends on where those bands set up. In this imagery, it sees about 1.5 inches and 1.45 in Franklin. Those aren't going to be exact placement locations, but it gives you an idea of what to expect. Wherever those bands set up and continually track over one another, probably a couple more inches of rain. And because of that, today and tomorrow, the Weather Prediction Center having us hatched in a marginal risk for flash flooding, meaning anywhere within this green shading, 25 miles from a point, has the risk of exceeding flash flood guidance. So it's something you want to keep in mind. Now, heat index is not going anywhere. Not too far anyway. Where it doesn't have the rain, you still have those heat index values where temperatures feel hotter than if you pull out your phone app, you see a number on it, it's going to feel hotter than that app is showing you. You see these numbers here because of the water in the air. You have those heat index values. Even look at Abbeville, 105 by Sunday afternoon. So as you're planning your weekend, if you're planning to do things outdoor, heat index is something you want to keep in mind and be mindful of when it comes to the heat. And there's the CPC putting out that 8 to 14 temperature outlook, warmer than normal over the next 8 to 14 days. Our average temperature this time of year is roughly about 92 degrees without the water and heat index being taken into account, and it'll be warmer than that. So you want to keep it in mind. Tonight, showers thankfully dying down, probably falling back into around the 80s, going to feel really humid. Tomorrow, the rain is going to continue, and it will be continuing on through 10 days as well. Other than Monday and Tuesday, we'll get that slight break. If you have plans tomorrow, make sure you grab an umbrella. I know I do. Mine's already in the car, so we're ready for it. And there's your 10-day where we've got the rain chances tapering down on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday going to be excessively warm. Going to be interesting to see if that heat dome breaks some records. And then rain chances return as we go through the rest of it. You'll see that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those 50 to 60% rain chances are going to continue, and temperatures will drop down a little. So as you go through your weekend, just keep in mind the potential for the flash flooding in isolated areas, and we'll be with you every step of the way. And I'll take one more look at weather coming up in just a bit. Welcome back to the weather on this Friday at 6. I've got the weather headlines up for you because the weekend will be a little bit spotty for rain, and then we warm up big time as we go into next week. Rain continuing Friday and Saturday, still hatched in both today and tomorrow for a slight risk of flash flooding all along South Louisiana coast, and then heat returning soon. So maybe you're aggravated and tired of the rain, but the good news is right now it's keeping those temperatures mitigated, and at the beginning of next week, I'm telling you, we are gonna miss it. Look at those temperatures. You can see how that rain came in, cooled everything off, got us back down into the 80s. Feels like probably 90s, near 100. Not so bad when you think about it, but those rain showers are what really kept it calm. We had that tropical air mass that came back around for a second time, gave us a deja vu, but not as high on the rainfall totals and not so widespread as well. It's a little area that got highlighted with a 10% chance of forming. Nothing much that we expected. And like taking a look at the radar, a lot of the activity really dying down as it cools off a bit, losing its heating and its dynamics. Lafayette's pretty clear, still north of Baton Rouge, some storms going on, but overall radar's clearing up for your Friday night. If you've got plans, maybe grab an umbrella, but I'm not sure you're gonna need it. I'll take another look at the full weather and talk about that heat dome that's gonna be building next week, coming up in just a bit. We have got such an active upper air pattern causing weather all over the coast of Louisiana. We've had this little tropical air mass that has failed not once but twice to become any type of tropical system, but the low really hanging out on the coast of Texas here, but the winds that flow around it bringing in moisture and rains into Acadiana. So we've kept that high humidity and those rain chances because of that. You can see the activity on the radar, very scattered, isolated in nature, already really dying down for the night. A little bit more probably coming off the coast as we go through the night as the air rotates around that low that's lingering now off of Texas. Thankfully, not a Louisiana issue. And those rain storms that have occurred had the potential to be incredibly strong. Thankfully, these have cleared out, and you can see as they lose that daytime heating, they're really falling apart, and that's really all over. If you're in Lafayette going to make your plans, even traveling, you see some of those storms dying out, losing their energy, which is great news. So what do we think is going to happen over the weekend as we go through? We can take a look at our graph model to see what it looks like tomorrow as we're planning our weekend, where the rain still lingers in through tonight, and you can see a couple of pop-up showers trying to come in, especially from the south as those winds rotate around that low pressure. And here we are along the coast, couple more isolated and scattered rainstorms. And although they may look small on the radar, the thing to keep in mind about these is there is so much water in the air, even more being pulled in from the south, that they can be incredibly efficient rain producers, which may potentially cause flash flooding warnings to be issued tomorrow. And because they're not so numerous in their coverage, it can also be a little bit warmer as well, so something to keep in mind. Sunday, a similar story, but it's going to start to die down as we go through Sunday and head into Monday, where we have a big shift in the pattern and we are going to get incredibly warm. So now that we see that it's going to be raining for the next couple of days and we should enjoy it while we have it before the heat gets here, how much will it rain? Looks like graph is thinking anywhere from about ½ an inch, some isolated areas an inch or more, especially coastally. I think would want to watch for those heavier rainfalls as they got more support, more water in that area, but nothing too excessive widespread. It's those isolated storms that pick up into the right dynamics and get really strong. Because of that, the Weather Prediction Center has us both hatched in today and tomorrow, and a marginal risk for flash flooding. That means anywhere in these green contour areas can see flash flooding occur. Now, I don't always show these maps, but the Climate Prediction Center for the 8 to 14 temperature outlook. Look at this, all of us hatched in warmer than normal. So we're expecting some very warm temperatures to get started next week as a heat dome builds over Louisiana. In fact, it might be centered right on top of us. And as that thing gets stronger and higher pressure builds and builds, it compresses the air, which makes it much warmer. You might remember them talking about it lingering around in the southeast, in the northeast. Well, now we have got it and we'll be inheriting that as we go into next week and beyond. So enjoy the rains that we have right now because we are going to be missing it as Monday and Tuesday come along. As far as tonight, you're making your plans. Temperatures are going to fall back down to the 70s as we keep some of that cloud cover, and then a couple areas still experiencing showers, but not widespread. And that you see those rain chances lingering on through this weekend, and then look Monday and Tuesday as that high pressure system suppresses a lot of it, and that's when I'm expecting that will be pretty warm, and you'll see that in the 10-day forecast as well. So big change. Well, we have all that rain. It's going to start tapering off on Sunday, and as we go into Monday, Tuesday, look at the highs in the 90s. That's before you factor in the humidity and then have those heat index values to worry about. So as you go through your weekend, just be prepared for some of that rain. Bring an umbrella. Keep in mind to have the weather app to get alerts on any flash flooding that may start to occur. And for the next couple of days, just be mindful of your heat safety. I'll take one last look at weather coming up in just a bit.
Welcome to Acadiana's News Channel at 5. I'm Jasmine Thibodeau. Well, rain has been moving through the area again today, and it may not be done just yet. We're tracking what to expect heading into the weekend and tonight. For a first look at your 24-hour forecast, let's get straight to our weather expert, Jobie Lagrange.
Yes, thank you, Jasmine. There is more rain. If anybody has those weekend plans, very true, both today and tomorrow. Ideally, though, tapering off Sunday, and then heat returns. So that heat is coming in, and it's coming in strong as we go into the rest of the end of the weekend, early next week. But for now, just lots of rain lingering around the area. We saw highs a little bit more controlled with the rain that came in. You see those 80s, but look, as the rain comes, cools it off just a little bit. We're going to miss those storms as we go into early next week. I know we talked a lot about that tropical air mass. The water is there, so the storms that can get going both throughout this afternoon and tomorrow evening, especially tomorrow, have the ability to be really efficient rain producers. We have a couple excessive rain outlooks that we're holding on to. There's that little guy. This is not let go. 10% chance of development. Really not seeing much. That'll move into Texas. I don't think we're seeing Dexter out of this one whatsoever. As far as Acadiana, look at all the rain that we've had. Very scattered and isolated. You can almost imagine this as a tropical rain band that somewhat broke down. You can kind of see a little bit of this rotation, but thankfully nothing severe for Acadiana. Just keep in mind those possible localized downfall, heavy rain totals. And that's all you need to keep in mind, because we do have that excessive rainfall outlook. I'll have another look at weather coming up in just a bit. So we can take a look at the big picture on what is going on with the weather, what's causing all this rain, because we have an enormous amount of moisture in the atmosphere thanks to that air mass that's just been looping its way around, visiting, honestly, it feels like every part of the country, and it hasn't had enough dynamic support to get it more developed into a tropical storm. But for us here in Louisiana, it has still meant a lot of rain. We can take a look at the radar that we've seen through the afternoon. There were some heavy showers, especially more here up north and central Louisiana, but none of the upper air dynamic support to keep them going, so they have died down a bit. Looking more around Cameron and Calcasieu Parish, you can see it sort of fades out as it goes because it's losing the daytime heating, losing support, but storms can be going on throughout the entirety of tonight, so it's something you want to keep in mind. We have excessive rainfall outlooks for both today and Saturday, so something you want to pay attention to. They're littler showers in size, but they're very efficient producers. Looking at what the graph believes to happen, you can see it's a little bit more clearer until the sun starts heating us up. Look at this. We've got entirely southerly flow of winds bringing in even more moisture and letting those storms be incredibly efficient. Things like this would be very heavy rain producers, so you want to have a way tomorrow to receive alerts just in case there's any flash flooding going on. As far as totals, what the graph thinks, just maybe a couple more inches, anywhere from 0.17 to 2-3 more inches tomorrow. It all just depends on where those storms get going, where they set up. Now the WPC keeps us in that hatched risk for marginal excessive rainfall outlook, so that means anywhere hatched in green both today and tomorrow has that chance of hitting that flash flood guidance. But take a look at this. I don't show it too often. However, next week it'll change up a little bit, especially Monday and Tuesday, where the CPC has our 8 to 14 temperature outlook warmer than normal. We're expecting a very strong high pressure to build over Louisiana, and when that happens, the temperature gets even higher as the air gets very strongly compressed. But it's your Friday night, so let's take a look at what you can plan for. Temperatures staying around the 70s, probably still really muggy, showers on and off as we go through the night. Winds still coming out of the south. We have a 20% chance of rain, maybe some lingering showers. Not everywhere is going to see it, so if you make your plans, maybe grab an umbrella. And then tomorrow, rain chances a little bit higher. We We have it at 50% right now. I don't think everywhere is going to get rain, but where it does, it's going to be incredibly efficient rain reducers. So that's something you want to keep in mind if you have outdoor plans. Where are you parking? Where are you going? And have a way to receive alerts in case any of those storms get really strong. That way you have a way to receive warning when that happens. Taking a look at your 10-day, because it will change. You'll see a little bit of all three of Louisiana's best and worst sides, I think. Where Saturday, 50% chance of rain, keeping the highs a little bit lower in the 80s, tapered off. Then Sunday, you'll see as the rain chances drop, those temperatures go up. And then Monday, that's when that high starts to build in. And look at those temperatures immediately going up. These are just the apparent temperatures. Once we factor in the humidity, I would expect our heat index hitting those triple digits again. So probably another week of excessive heat warnings. And then Louisiana being like it does, by the end of next week, you'll see those rain chances return, but temperatures cooling off slightly with that. So as you go through this weekend, just be prepared for some more rain. And then Monday and Tuesday getting a lot warmer. And that is all for weather for now. I'll have a final look coming up in just a little bit.